Okay, I'm looking at the last two poems that I had you read by William Cullen Bryant. We'll start with To a Waterfowl. So this is Bryant's musings on perseverance in the face of hardships and knowing that we're never really alone, that even when we are alone, we feel alone. We are not alone, that God is always with us. And so this came from Bryant was traveling, and he happened to notice a waterfowl, which I'm guessing is like some kind of bird, like a duck, kind of like a goose, or I'm not really 100% sure. I don't know my birds. I'm a little afraid of them. But I'm assuming it is a game bird because it talks about the fowler's eye and like the hunter. So I'm assuming it's some kind of duck or waterfowl, a duck, or the other kinds of birds that hunters can shoot, that are water based, that land in the water and that kind of thing. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. But he sees a waterfowl kind of tracking across the sky, and it's starting to get dark outside, and the bird is kind of blending in with the darkness. And so he kind of knows that it's late in the day for the hunters to be out. And so he's kind of wondering, where the bird is going here at the very beginning. It says, where, midst the falling dew, while glow the heavens with the last steps of day, far that through their rosy depths dost thou pursue thy solitary way. Where are you going? Where are you going all by yourself? Okay. It says, vainly the fowler's eye might mark thy distant flight to do thee wrong, as darkly painted on the crimson sky thy figure floats along. So it's too dark right now for a fowler or a hunter for him to be in any kind of danger for that, because he's kind of blending in to the darkness of the sky around him. And it says, he's wondering where he's going. Seekest thou the plashy brink of weedy lake, or marge of river wide, or where the rocking billows rise and sink on the chafed ocean side? Where are you going? Are you looking for a lake or a river or the ocean? And so he kind of wonders if he's just aimlessly flying around, but then he realizes that this bird is not on an aimless course, that he's flying a course that was set for him by a power. There is a power whose care teaches thy way along that pathless coast, the desert and illimitable air, lone wandering but not lost. That God has set this bird into flight, and that the path that he is charting, or the path that he is following, has already been charted for him by that power, by God. And it's kind of where you get the idea of not all those who wander are lost. So he's alone, but he's not lost. He's on that track that's set for him by God. And he is by himself, but he's not really alone. All day thy wings have fanned at that far height the cold thin atmosphere, yet stoop not weary to the welcome land, though the dark night is near. He's like, all day long you've been flying. It's cold outside, yet you keep flying. You don't land. You don't give up. You're continuing on. And soon that toil shall end. Soon shalt thou find a summer home and rest, and scream among thy fellows. Reed shall bend soon o'er thy sheltered nest. So he knows that at one day, or at one point in time, the bird's flight will end, and he will land, and he'll find his comfort and his home and his friends and all those things. So the time that he's actually spending alone is very short compared to, a time in general, but he is not alone that whole time. It says, thou art gone, the abyss of heaven has swallowed up thy form, yet on my heart deeply has sunk the lesson that thou hast given, and soon shall not soon depart. So I can't see you anymore, but the lesson that you have taught me, this flight of this fowl, the lesson that you have taught me is sunk deep into my heart and on my heart, and it won't go away. He who from zone to zone guides through the boundless sky thy certain flight, in the long way that I must tread alone will lead my steps aright. So Bryant, when he can't see the bird any longer, he muses that the lesson that he has been given is that God will always be with us, even when we feel alone, even when we're walking in the darkest times, that God is going to keep us on the right path and he is going to be with us every step of the way. So that's a really good, I like that. That point. All right, last one is the death of Lincoln. This was written, or I'm sorry, it was published 4 days after Lincoln's assassination, which was on April the 15th of 1865, and this poem first appeared in on April 20th, 1865, in the Evening Post, the New York Evening Post. It was also read at Lincoln's funeral. Samuel Osgood, it was a Unitarian minister, read the poem at Lincoln's like public funeral. And so basically, it's just an elegy for Abraham Lincoln, mourning his death and celebrating his life. So we have, oh, slow to smite and swift to spare, gentle and merciful and just, who in the fear of God did spare the sword of power and nation's trust. So this president who had accomplished so much for so many, who was a hero to the nation with his gentle and merciful and just ways. In sorrow by thy bier, their funeral bier, a bier in this sense is like a platform that his body or his coffin is currently on. In sorrow by thy bier we stand amid the awe that hushes all, and speak the anguish of a land that shook with horror at thy fall. People are sad, they're mourning, they're grieving, and in the way that he died, it's horror. It's horrible. It was a horrible circumstance for everyone to kind of deal with. Thy task is done, the bond are free. We bear thee to an honored grave, whose proudest monument shall be the broken fetters of the slave. Pure was thy life, its bloody close hath placed thee with sons of light among the noblest host of those who perished in the cause of right. Praising him for his greatest accomplishment, which was for the Emancipation Proclamation, which, freed the slaves. And his attempts to kind of right the injustices that had been placed against them for so long, and almost equating him to a martyr who's going to die in the fight for goodness and justness and right. Pure was thy life, in the way that he ended his death. As a martyr who perished. He perished in his fight for right and for justness. So that was a moving little elegy there for the death of Abraham Lincoln.